A sudden death last month has now been confirmed as a homicide. Good evening and thank you for joining us. 24-year-old Levi Lawson has been charged with second-degree murder. It's in connection to the disappearance and death of Deborah Anishinaabe last month. Brendan Miller joins us in studio. Brendan, what more do we know right now?
Well, Ryan, we know that it's been a little over a month since police initially charged Lawson with indignity to a human body. Now, through their investigation, they've found enough evidence to charge him with murder as well. 24-year-old Levi Lawson is now charged with second-degree murder in connection to the death of Deborah Anishinaabe. Early in December, it was reported that Anishinaabe went missing around 2 a.m. after leaving Newfie's pub. Her family, along with the community, joined together to help search and raise awareness, including a walk that would have been Anishinaabe's route home. She never made it. 3 days later, her body was discovered in a detached garage on Finlayson Street. Police began an investigation into what occurred and believed Lawson was involved. On the 17th of December, he was charged with indignity to a human body. Additional evidence discovered during the course of the investigation led police to charging him with second-degree murder on Friday. Lawson appeared in court Friday and will remain in custody with a future court date set. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
After a break-and-enter and sexual assault in Aroland First Nation. It happened Tuesday morning when two masked suspects allegedly entered a home and sexually assaulted a male resident. They're also accused of destroying property. A 45-year-old man and a 22-year-old man from Aroland were arrested yesterday. The investigation continues. A remote northern community is recognizing an anniversary that seems unfathomable. As of tomorrow, Neskantaga First Nation will have been under a boil water advisory for 30 years. Chief Chris Munoz says it's had a devastating effect on his people.
Does the community deserve clean drinking water? You know, at some point in time, some people say maybe we're not considered humans to be to have clean drinking water. You know, those are things that that I hear from my community members.
The community has had to evacuate multiple times due to water issues. That includes in 2020 when an oily sheen was discovered on the surface of the water in the reservoir. There have been numerous commitments from governments to build a new plant and end the water crisis, but Munoz says those promises continue to go unfulfilled.
They've been working on this upgrade for a long time. We call it a Frankenstein, you know, but you know, it's something that has not happened, and we continue to have issues with it, and the people that are involved just can't seem to produce clean drinking water to our houses.
It's day 3 of the provincial election campaign. Party leaders are in and around the GTA and southwestern Ontario today. CTV's Siobhan Morris tells us what they had to say.
With the heat turning up on an apparent impending trade war.
Who attacks your #1 customer? I'll tell you, no one does, except Donald Trump.
Progressive Conservative leader Doug Ford insists the province and the country will be ready to hit back, even if the specifics of the tariff threat and the timing have been hard to follow.
Secretary Rubio will say something, and the president says something. They have to get their comms down pat.
In this time of uncertainty, Ford says it's the time to build, securing paychecks for people on job sites.
We will invest an additional $22 billion into our government's nearly $200 billion plan to build.
Fast-tracking projects like widening the QEW between St. Catharines and Burlington. NDP leader Marit Stiles appeared alongside auto workers in Windsor, vowing to fight for their jobs in the face of tariffs.
We're going to take care of people through actions that are going to secure you and your family, like income protection.
Stiles couldn't offer any specifics of that plan, but insists she can be a protector, a fighter in a way Ford can't.
Do you really think you can count on him to take care of people in a really difficult time? I don't, but you can count on me.
Sometimes you just
don't feel safe.
The Liberal leader rolling out a plan to improve safety on public transit to encourage more people to ride.
We would invest in those protective barriers at the foot of the doors that would stop people from falling over if being pushed, and would just control the flow of people.
The TTC has pegged the cost of those doors at some $4 billion.
That is the price of safety, then so be it.
Bonnie Crombie's also proposing to hire 300 special constables for Toronto, Ottawa, and the GO network, and fund more crisis intervention teams, as well as safety gear like cameras. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner joined activists outside a hospital in Chesley to highlight poor access to primary care and hospital closures.
It's not fair for rural communities. It's not fair for the people who live here that they don't have access to basic health care.
Chesley's hospitals only open Monday to Friday, something officials blame on a shortage of nurses.
That was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. Well, the provincial election is in full swing in Kiiwetinoong as the incumbent has announced that he's running again. NDP member Saul Mamaka is looking to keep his seat at Queen's Park. Mamaka was first elected as the Kiiwetinoong representative in 2018 and has served as deputy leader of the NDP. During his time at Queen's Park, Mamaka made history by becoming the first member to speak in an official capacity in an Indigenous language. Mamaka says he's ready for the fight to keep his seat.
Once I get back to Solikout, my campaign office will be there, and then I'm ready to travel, and I'm ready to, whether I need to get my snowshoes on, I'm ready. And I think it's a winter election. It's going to be different, and not your summer election. So I think that's a difference. But no matter what, we are Northerners. We're the North, and I think I'm ready for this.
Mamaka is running against Progressive Conservative Wayland Scott, the Green Party's Carolyn Spicer, and the Northern Ontario Party's Teresa Lepich. The provincial Liberals haven't yet named their candidate for the riding. Thunder Bay City Council had its first opportunity to debate the 2025 operating budget, but opted not to make any changes last night. A number of city departmental spending was discussed at City Hall, including corporate and community services. Jessica Clement has more.
Thursday night's meeting had council members reviewing the first half of the $449 million operating budget, looking at the city manager's department, the corporate services department, and the community services department. There are no changes made, which keeps the tax levy hike at 3.7%. Councillors did ask clarifying questions about various sections, including about the hiring of a diversity, equity, and inclusion coordinator. Councillor Andrew Folds asked if it was a response to public inquiries regarding Truth and Reconciliation.
I'm not looking to undermine. This is good stuff, but I think the public wants to know that the city is responding tangibly to some of the things that have been suggested to us.
City Manager John Collins said it was a response to a degree, noting that Thunder Bay's Indigenous Relations Group takes the lead to address Truth and Reconciliation and associated reports.
The DEI position itself, in addition to helping explicitly with Indigenous relations, will have a broader focus to address all diversity and equity issues.
Trump's 25% tariff threat and related cost concerns were also brought up during the meeting, with Folds asking how it could affect maintenance costs at the city's facilities.
Have you been talking to your colleagues and figuring out, or at least starting strategically, how to react? Because I think municipalities are really going to get hit hard.
For most part, we have contracted budgets or contracted service arrangements with contractors currently. So those are fixed costs. Some of the other costs for ordering parts, we won't know until we actually get there.
The proposed budget also mentioned that one of the Corporate Information Technology Division's priorities is to look at opportunities for the use of artificial intelligence and developing an AI governance model. Councillor Shelby Chung questioned if the city was budgeting enough for AI technology. Jean Suffolk, manager of Corporate Information Technology, says they're still in the learning phase of AI technology.
We do not have a specific budget need at this time. Certainly, once we put our guideline and framework in place and we start looking at those initiatives, if it doesn't align with the next budget cycle, we would look at what options we might need to bring forward to fund that. But at this time, there is no specific need.
Budget deliberations continue on Monday, with final approval set for February 10th. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
One of the new members of the Thunder Bay Police Services Board Governance Committee says trust and transformation will be the focus. Gary Ferguson is filling one of the vacant roles on the committee after a long history of community involvement. Ferguson has an extensive resume in both the public and private sectors. Currently, he serves as the executive director of the Salvation Army's Journey to Life Center. Ferguson talks about how past experience will benefit him in his new role with the Governance Committee.
I think I've had experience in addiction work, I've had experience in mental health, working with marginalized populations, as well as working on budgets, working on strategic plans. These are all things that I can bring to the table and work with as part of a team, and I hope they're valuable. Also with my community experience and interaction that I've had, I think I can really, again, like I say, bring the voice of the community forward.
Marcel Donio is filling the other vacant position on the committee. He's worked in various levels of government and was appointed as a Justice of the Peace. A Timmins woman is now a millionaire thanks to the latest Thunder Bay 50-50 draw. Lucy Clifford got the life-changing phone call today, letting her know that she'd won more than $1.8 million.
We didn't quite hit $2 million. You're not a multi-millionaire, but that's pretty darn close.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh my God.
So I understand.
Doesn't happen very often. I'm so thankful. I've been buying tickets for the Thunder Bay Hospital ever since it started.
Excellent,
And
thank you.
hope, yes, to help out in any way, and it's helping me out right now.
Clifford said the call was so incredible that she had to sit down when she got the news. She was excited to be able to tell her husband and 2 kids. Since the draw's inception, nearly $60 million has been awarded across Ontario. Tickets for the February draw are on sale now. All right, let's turn our attention to the weather now. And Fiona, the temperatures have been pretty good over the last day and a half or so, but they are about to fall.
Yes, and I think what people are going to have to remember for the next few days is what goes up has to come down again, but don't worry, it can still come up. So there's going to be a lot of fluctuation in the region. Last night, we hit a low of -10, wind chills of -16, which is very mild for this time of year. Today, we were bang on seasonal highs, -7 and a wind chill of -12. But I kind of lied to you just now because these numbers were in reverse. The high for today of -7 was actually first thing this morning, and temperatures have been falling all day. So we're actually at our low for the day of -10. We also had that morning snow, and then those temperatures fell with winds this afternoon kicking up to 38 kilometers an hour. If we take a look at what's going on across the region, last night we were talking about that cold air sinking down from the north, that polar vortex of air. You can see what it's doing to the temperatures. We've got a lot of variety, everything from -21 in Pickle Lake to -14 in Fort Frances. That's a huge difference in a relatively small geographical area. But of course, at this time of year, it's all about the wind chill. Now, up towards the northwest, wind chills are currently sitting around -29, close to that -30 range under, we'll say, mostly clearing skies. Fort Frances, clear skies at -14 and a wind chill of -21. As you head further east, you can see the temperatures kind of fluctuating a little bit, -20 in Dryden and Sioux Lookout, then it warms up a little bit in Upsala and Atikokan into the mid-teens, and then we're back in the -20s as you move into Armstrong and Greenstone, where they had sunny skies today, and then just a few clouds popping in the last little while. But they're low for the day when wind chills hit -34. That happened at 11 a.m. this morning. It's just been in the last few hours. It's actually warmed up a little bit. So that -20 there actually feels like -26, but that's pretty good considering where they started. Along the eastern shores, we're in the mid-teens, and Sault Ste. Marie, -6 with a wind chill of -13. Winds have been really kicking up in the last few hours. Right now, they're dealing with gusts up to 54 kilometers an hour. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, it's going to be clear, it's going to be cold, and there's a risk of frostbite. If you've got pets, don't leave them outside for very long. -24 and wind chills of -29 in the overnight hours. Now, as we head into Saturday, well, as I said, temperatures are plummeting tonight across the region. We should see some snow return on Saturday afternoon, and then a whole lot more on Saturday night. Here's the good news. It's also going to be warmer on Sunday, but don't expect that to last too long, Ryan, because, as I said, what goes up has got to go back down at this time of year. So you're going to see a lot of up and down over the next few days.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. We shall wait and see what Mother Nature has in store for us. Well, speaking of wait and see, today is January 31st. That means those tariffs that the U.S. has threatened are set to come into effect tomorrow. There was a lot of confusion today. First came a report that no, they were going to be delayed a month, but then the White House and Trump himself said no, they are going to take effect. So we'll see. We'll have more after the break.